All right, everyone is talking about this movie, and after having seen it just a few hours ago, I can see why everyone wants to talk about this movie. So I don't want to do one more review or analysis of Joker. Instead, what I want to give to you, dear audience, is a guide to how you might best enjoy this movie. Because unfortunately, a lot of the commentary out there, a lot of the analysis and breakdowns of this movie focus on the political aspect, focus on social commentary. Is this a left-wing pro-Antifa movie? You could portray it that way. You could see how it's empathizing with the mentally ill who have been not properly served and callously disregarded, seen as invisible by the higher echelons, the rich cats who just got there because they were lucky. Alternatively, from the more right wing side, you could interpret it as a story about how the political left is driven by literal insanity, you know. um, but I think any kind of political angle, any kind of interpretation of this movie, first and foremost as social commentary, is missing the point, and you're not going to enjoy it as much as you otherwise could. What I think the proper way to view the story and to go into the theaters with the mindset of is this movie is a story. You have, and it sounds almost tautological, but it's a fundamentally different mindset, and you have to think about it in these terms. And specifically, you should, before you go watch this, go back and review your terminology for Greek tragedies, if that's something you're familiar with. And I'll give you a brief walkthrough of the basics, because it's more relevant to this film than it is to perhaps any other film I've seen, um, without exception, that I'm aware of. So, a Greek tragedy has a particular formula to it. You have your tragic hero who is cursed with what they call hamartia, a fatal flaw of some kind, and they often don't know that they have it. They shouldn't know that they have this fatal flaw. Perhaps other people can see this fatal flaw, but the character itself does not, and this creates tension between the audience who knows something's coming and the character who doesn't know that that's coming. That tension is called irony, specifically dramatic irony. Um, and this movie is packed full of dramatic irony. It is absolutely chock full of irony, from the fact that the Joker, Arthur, has pseudobulbar affect, or whatever it's called, where you can't stop yourself from laughing. He can't stop himself from laughing, but he describes himself as never having been happy for a minute in his entire life. Those are two things you normally don't. You would associate laughter with joy, and he can't stop laughing, and he is profoundly unjoyful. you know that is it. It's not funny exactly, but it's darkly amusing in the juxtaposition. And this whole movie is a nonstop barrage of this kind of irony. But that's a digression. So you have a tragic flaw, which is leading towards a downfall of the character, and that downfall happens in two phases usually. First, there is a sudden reversal of fortune. There's a things are going okay, and suddenly they're not okay. And in Greek tragedy, that's known as peripeteia, for those nerds who are interested, like me, in that kind of thing. There's the peripeteia, and then after that comes anagnorisis, the discovery, the revelation of your own true nature, and the recognition of what led to this moment, what led to this downfall. And the ultimate goal of this is not political commentary. It's not to try to raise awareness or anything like that. It's not an advocacy thing. the goal is catharsis, is a purging of emotions and perhaps a connection of some sort too, a realization that we're all, a part of this um, plot pattern in some capacity. We're all going through the tragic storyline, and if we can recognize it earlier, maybe it's better for us. But that's I think the best way to go into this movie. And if you do go into it that way, you may see a lot of the dramatic irony. You may notice the moment, his anagnorisis moment, his recognition of why he is the way he is, which he didn't understand for most of the film up to that moment. And it's so great because he delivers a line at the end of that moment that specifically references tragedies and comedies. And it's worth going up and looking up the technical definitions of what tragedies and comedies are as well before going into this. All of these are tools that some people are very, they think you should just go in and just watch it for what it is. And I don't disagree with the mindset, but I do disagree with the idea that the fewer tools you have, the more pure your vision will be of these things. Reading books about novels and about mythology and about stories help you to enjoy novels and myths and stories better. And I think the thing to do before you go into this movie, don't read the reviews, don't read the social commentary. Is it a left-wing movie? Is it a right-wing movie? Refamiliarize yourself with Greek tragedy, because that is what Joker is. And with that, I strongly recommend this movie. I think it's a fantastic movie. Joaquin Phoenix did one of the best acting jobs I've seen in a long time. Competitive with Heath Ledger, I think. But that's just my opinion, and that's how I think you can enjoy this movie the best.